alien sent from outer space, that's who I be. Sent with a message for the human race, that's who I be. Different in every way.
Hello, aliens, people of the world and of the universe. This is MJbaker, the queen of the aliens, and I'm super duper excited because I get to introduce you guys to an amazing person, Mr. Wayne Bennett, aka Brentwood Slim, aka
Hey.
producer, aka rapper, aka actor, teacher. I mean, overall, amazing creative. And we're just going to talk to him a little bit about what his life is like, what he's doing, and how he is thriving in this world today. So, as a creative, so I'm really excited. Hello, Wayne.
What's up?
So, before we get started with the interview, because I have a lot of questions, I always ask people because ALIEN is an acronym for authentically living, intrinsically evolving naturally.
Mm.
So, where do you feel like right now in this season of your life? What it could be multiple letters, but where in the acronym of ALIEN do you feel you you're walking in right now?
Mm. Say that again. Authentically
Authentically living,
living.
intrinsically evolving naturally.
Mm. I think evolving. That resonates the strongest right now.
Okay.
Right? Because it's like being pushed, thrust into this world of New York City, being from Jacksonville, Florida. The lifestyle is just it's a lot different. You know what I'm saying? Um, Hence why New Yorkers are sort of they are how they are, like a little more aggressive and a hard exterior
Uh-huh.
because they've had to sort of grow up differently. And so I think evolution and evolving for me right now because I sort of purposely placed myself in a space that was uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially that's what I look to do every day is like, walk into discomfort because I do feel like that's where the growth is, and you can sort of trick yourself into believing that oh, things are good, my bills are paid, got a little money saved, you know what I mean, my life is good. And I'm not denouncing anybody who wants to take that journey or who feels like that's appropriate. I just find for me that evolving comes with a bit of uncomfortability. Yeah.
It does. I I think that's so powerful that you said that because just recently over the past couple of months, I follow this guy on named Larry Reed on YouTube, and he was just talking about how if you want to be successful, if you really want to like be your true authentic self, it comes with being uncomfortable as
Mm.
season like there's you can't the comfort is in you achieving your goal, right? But the process of doing that is not always a very comfortable place to be. And we have been taught that comfort is the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
And that if it's not comfortable, then it's not right. But sometimes you
Mm.
do have to sit in that, like you said, uncomfortability um, for
Yeah.
a season, Well, I mean, and we get uncomfortable. We're constantly progressing, right? Or evolving.
Mhm.
So I think that's beautiful. That is so dope. Okay,
Yeah.
so tell us, I know who you are. I'm a fan. But just tell us a little bit. You're from Jacksonville, Florida. Duval. We're both from Jacksonville.
Hey, do well. I went to Brentwood Elementary, hence the rap name Brentwood Slim. Uh, I'm starting from elementary because I think it's important
Mm-hmm.
for me to say this that like Brentwood was the projects, and I mean everything that comes with project living, violence and drugs, and poverty, that sort of thing, and yeah, but Brentwood Elementary happened to be this art school, which was sort of a blessing in that world because I
Okay.
realized, I think very young, that like while I was in this world, I wasn't of this world. You
Right.
know, like my value system seemed to
Alien.
be right. Alien. I was an alien. My value system seemed to be like a little different. And maybe I didn't even understand what the term value system was, but I just knew that whatever it is that I was after was a little different. And so yeah, so I went to Brentwood Elementary, and it happened to be I was just like bad when I was young. Um, just like a temper and would throw chairs and get in fights, just bad, and but there was this one teacher who stood up to me, this lady named Allison Massey,
Uh-huh.
and she and I are still friends today. And white lady too, like, what I mean, she was tough though. Like, she's like, hey, I'm not intimidated by none of that you got going on. Like, you're way too smart. Like, you're way too sharp to be acting up this way. We need to get you involved in something. And so she felt like, all right, I had the capacity to be great, but it just needed to be channeled.
Yeah.
And so she got me into a tap dance class. That was the first thing that I did.
What?
Yeah, into a tap
Oh
dance
my
class,
God.
right?
I
And
love
so
it.
it was cool, but tap just wasn't my, what I mean?
Right.
Maybe I couldn't really get with the tights and all that. Like, it was like, what I'm saying? So there was that thing. And
Do
but
they can I just really quick? You got
uh,
pictures? Can I please?
I don't have pictures of tap dance class. I do have pictures of me doing a play when I was that young, though. But the point being that, like,
Yeah.
tap ended up being my segue into the theater. And I found acting, and I fell in love with it. And my very first play was Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Oh, wow.
Um, we had no clue what we were saying, but like, still, for a fifth grader to hear this language, to memorize this language, you were exercising some sort of skill. And so it went from that to La Villa, or Landon, actually,
Mm-hmm.
was where I was. It was School of the Arts before La Villa, the first year it opened.
Mm-hmm.
We were like the first seventh grade class, and then to Douglas Anderson. So I kind of grew up in art school as an arts baby. You know what I'm saying? And because of that, there was like an appreciation for different disciplines and different spaces of artistry. Like, I learned to love just art, visual art. Like,
Right.
still in New York, I love to go to museums. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was playing in a jazz combo in middle school, like jazz band. So I grew to love, like, not just producing by way of like tapping pads, but to
Right.
hear instruments, guys who could pick up their trumpet and their trombone, and to see them in practice rooms, an hour early to school just to get some work in before they had a concert, or they had to show they had a test of their scales or something like that.
Right.
Like, we really were in there seeing the inner workings of what it meant to be an artist, to be competitive, to be great. And our teachers pushed back on us for that. You know what I mean? Um,
Now,
yeah.
now you from there you went to college, right? And you got your degree in teaching, right? Education, or what did you go to school for?
And acting, actually. It's a bachelor's in fine arts from North Carolina School of the Arts. And NCSA was a school I auditioned for, like, four schools, maybe. This thing called Unified Auditions in Chicago, where it's like we auditioned for Juilliard, for DePaul, for NYU, for NCSA. And NCSA has always been in the theater space like a top competitor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of people categorize it as the Juilliard of the South, because the training was really, really that thorough. So it was one of my dream schools, and I got in, and it was like, all right, this is dope. But this is the thing though, MJ, is like, right, like, you dope where you from, you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
Everybody Mike Jordan, where they from,
Yeah.
But then you level up and you get into this environment where everybody was Mike Jordan when they were where they was from. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So it's like you ain't special no more. Like, uh, then what is the thing that sets you apart? You know what I'm saying? Um, and that was essentially just work ethic. You know what I mean?
So I get so what got you to the place where you are right now? Because like I feel like the person that I'm talking to today is different from the person that I knew like 5, 6 years ago. So what what was that evolution? Because that's your word, right? So what got you to evolve to, because you went to LA, right? So you, after you
Mhm.
got out of school, did you go to LA right after college, or did you come back,
Yeah.
go back to
So
Jacksonville, or what was that?
right out of college, went to Los Angeles. I was dating this girl at the time, and she was a producer, and we decided that we were going to like go and do LA together, you know. And truthfully, I was telling one of my dogs this, like I probably would not have made it to LA without her, just because she had like a really strong like sort of support system from her family, and they vouched for me in a lot of regards, you know what I'm saying? And so went out to LA, but the pursuit for me after I left drama school was like, all right, I'm gonna get out here because listen, bro, I'm about to be Drake. You know what I'm saying? like, like, you know, I just want to write dope music. I want to perform as a rapper, as an artist. I just want to create the dopest piece of work, of hip hop work, of R&B work, of whatever this is musically that's inside of me. And so I was out in LA, like I left drama school, but honestly, like in pursuit of music, like meeting a lot of producers and like just strengthening my pen every day after work. It was like, all right, you got to write a song. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to keep your pen sharp. And because music was something that I could do that didn't require other people. Like the
Mhm.
theater is collaborative, and even film work is collaborative. Like you have to have people with you to create. You know what I mean? And there's naturally like that tension of artistry of like your pursuits, but also the reality of having to survive. You know what I'm saying? And so you mix that all up in a pot, and it's like, all right, what's the best approach? And at the time, I felt like, all right, you know, for sake of time, because I have to work so much to be here,
Yeah.
you might as well pick this pen up and just start writing. And so that's what ended up happening. I was writing, and eventually, I think we hit a point like a year and a half of us being there. We're just like, I don't know that this is where we need to be,
Mhm.
you know. So she moved back home to where she was from. I moved back to the crib, and I linked with some of my dogs from high school, and I was like, all right, you know what? I don't have to stress as much about survival when I'm home because you can always go to Auntie house, grandma house. You know
Right.
what I mean? So I could really put my focus on the pen. And that's when Loretta's Boy came up. And I launched a Kickstarter for that. And we got like the goal was $6,500 in 30 days. I didn't sleep that entire month. And we raised the money for it. And then I did the album. Yeah. And yeah. And so I think the evolution for me from that time to now has just been, it's ironic that we were talking about this, is just hardship, honestly. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? In a way that like I don't think life is easy, MJ. Like I'm being sincere. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
As optimistic as people like to articulate it, you know, I do think that from the moment that we're born, you know, it's some hurdles. You're gonna have to jump through some things, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
But I do think it's all a testament to like character building and specifically what you need to be focused on because maybe there was an angle you didn't see or a blind spot that you never knew, you know?
Mhm.
And so I just think my progression has come with uh my honesty, like my ability to be truthful, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? About where I am and where it is I'm intending to go, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I feel like, okay, so Loretta's Boy came out, and I feel like when it came to Duval, to me it was an iconic, and I'm not using that, lightly. I feel like I'm not one of those people that's just gonna put on hip hop, right? I'm
Yeah.
just not gonna do that. But I guess when I heard that album, I was like, you talking about Drake? And the marketing was dope, and the album cover was dope. It didn't look like you just took a picture from your phone. All of these things came together, but also I noticed your energy was different, right? And then it was like you disappeared. I mean,
Hmm.
you had something going for a while, and then I feel like you kind of, when I say disappeared, like maybe you went underground for a season
Oh
or
yeah.
whatever the
Yeah.
case may be. And then I started seeing you posting about, love, and when I say love of self, and you started, doing a lot of those types of things, like you were going through a cocoon stage, or is what I like to call it,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
what what got you to that point, like, and I mean, I'm not in your world, I just see what I see, and then I'll reach out and be like, yo, what you doing? So how did you get to that place, like, you know
Um. I- so yeah. So
okay, so
the
let's
kiddo was born,
uh-huh
and honestly, I mean, I thought, all right, enough of this artistry, man. Like this is done. You know what I mean? Like, good run. You know what I'm saying? But now your responsibility, your identity changes from artistry to, I guess, being a dad. And it was kind of scary because it was like, like you don't know what being a dad is until you become a dad. Like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? There's something there's something very scary about like what you don't know. Like you can sort of picture it in your head, but you don't know what it's about to be like.
yeah,
And so I was sort of convinced that that was the case. And so, it was like, all right, got to get a job, got to be consistent, got to, turn into dad mode now.
yeah,
Um, and so, and there was also the question that was sitting with me of like, all right, Wayne, like you intended to be a husband, you intended to have your kids from a wife.
mm-hmm,
Like how did you end up in this space? You know what I mean? How did you end up with a baby mama? That sort of thing. Which was a tough question. You know what I mean? It was an extremely, extremely eye-opening and sort of a tough question. Um, because you have to confront yourself. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah,
And so I think when I'm, what I just said about a sort of foreshadowing about my truthfulness and my ability to be honest with myself, it always helps me out, but it helped me in that moment tremendously, like dynamically,
yeah,
because I think I had lost touch with faith. You know what I mean? I think
mm,
I had lost touch with a sense of identity. And
yeah,
I think that I was also becoming privy to like habits and ways of thinking that were creating fruit in my life that I didn't actually want. You know what I'm saying? And so when you're in those cocoon moments or those moments of transition, they're just pivotal
yeah,
because like I'm a faith man, and so the question was like, God, why?
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? How did I get here, and what is it that I need to be paying attention to that I was not paying attention to before?
yeah,
You know what I mean? And I think a big portion of that was like, um, especially Duval culture, like particularly my dad too, and I love him, but we kind of grew up in a culture where it was like we went girl crazy, you know what I'm saying? Like, and,
right,
and in a way that wasn't healthy. It's
yeah,
like, bro, you might have like 5 or 6 on deck, you know what I'm saying? That kind of
yeah,
thinking, you know what I mean?
yeah,
What like now, like having grown and it's like I can never imagine keeping up with five.
Listen, I
You
and this
know what
is
I'm saying?
yeah, and
Like,
I think it's so powerful. Like I was not expecting to ask you this question, but
yeah,
do you think that like as a black man and just as a man period, you know what I
yeah,
mean? That it was, you know, promoted that that's what makes you masculine is having multiple women, you
yeah.
know, multiple partners, different things
hmm
like that.
hmm I do think that, I bought into the lie. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it was being sort of it was coming from two sides, from culture, number one, like rap culture. The
Right.
fact that I believed rappers, I believed that the lifestyle, I believed that entertainment was true.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was important in my life for me to make that distinction of what entertainment is versus truth, and that in most cases they are worlds apart. You know what I'm saying? So there
Yeah.
was that thing of me buying into rap, but there was also the aspect of like me also seeing those kind of attitudes and that way of thinking in culture, like in my bubble, in the people around me, who were promoting like, hey, you ain't that nigga unless you got a couple females on deck, or like, you know what I mean? Or your girl better be bad. She better look like this, boy. Her toes better be done. She better, ooh, it's like this,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? This like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
but truth teaches you. It's like I think I came to a place where it's like, bro, why are you hiding behind women? Like you can do that. You know what I mean? Like you're building an identity that's based on how good your girl looks.
Yeah.
Like, nah, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like those are things that culture will teach you. You know what I mean? So you'll miss the true virtues, the things that matter most about like um how you should the qualities you should be looking for in a partner. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mhm.
So in that cocoon phase, it was all of this stuff of like I hit sort of a spiritual breakthrough where it was like needed some answers, went through a rough time. My lights got cut off at the house. I had to go to my cousin's house and sleep on her couch for like 3, 4 days. And in that time, I just said a prayer like, God, if you there, man, you gotta holler at me. You gotta say something because I feel like
Right.
I am on the verge of destroying my life. You know what I mean? And in that time, I feel God spoke to me very clearly, and those words were, I didn't create you to serve your art. I created you to serve me. You know what I mean? And I'll never forget that,
So,
because
okay.
go ahead. Yeah.
Hold on. Let me just okay, cuz you saying a whole lot. So, and I feel like it's so many layers to that. So,
Yeah.
going back to when you were talking about being, you know, hiding behind women and just hiding behind whatever the identity that you know, you absorbed at that time that you decided this is who I am.
Yeah.
So I always talk about, and this is why I create. This is the birth of the Nation
Mm,
came out of me realizing I never was able to live my authentic life, like, or be
mm,
my authentic self, because I too, like, I talk about this on my episode from last week where I was saying how we are born in a box. Like
mm.
95% of us, when we come out of the womb, our parents already have put expectations on us. They've already said, like, this is what you're going to do. When I came out of the womb, my mom said, you are going to go to college. You are going to do this. You're going to walk like this. You're going to talk like this. I wanted to go outside and play with the boys and play kickball. And my mom was like, um, she was like, come in here,
That's
help me
not
put this down on, you know,
right.
different things like that. And so, you know, we were created in this box, and it's not until we have an awakening moment that we have to decide, because we all come to that moment where it's like you're going to take the red pill or the blue pill. It's the
That's
matrix,
right.
right? And
That's right.
then when you decide you're going to take, okay, you take the red pill, you can still be comfortable, right? That
Yeah.
blue
Yeah.
pill is not comfortable.
Ah,
It is the awakening process, and then you have to go through that process of, damn, I did that.
Yeah.
oh, this isn't who I really am. No, I don't like this,
Yeah.
walking through that process. And so I love what you said, because to me it's just saying what we think is freedom is not really freedom.
That's it.
It's
That's
it's
it.
we and but at the same time, we were not taught, like,
Right. Right.
this is a self journey. It's a journey
Yeah.
that we have to for us to embrace and make that decision to move forward. And so
True.
then you break out of your box and you go to God and you're like, Lord, what is, who is Wayne? And
Who is
so
way, right?
who what was that experience like? And on top of that, being a new father.
Um, it was tough. You know what I'm saying? Like it was tough, particularly because, as I said before, like it forced me to adapt new behaviors that were not like instinctual. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so I had to really try hard to to embrace new habits, right? Like, let me go back and say this really quick too. Like, I wanted this when I was listening to you. I think it's important to note that for me, there's a distinction between purpose and identity. You know what I
Mm,
mean? And I think when I was younger, everything was about purpose, like my purpose, the reason that I'm here.
right.
And I think in my growth, what I found is that you can't have purpose apart from identity. You know what I mean? In fact, you don't know where you're going unless you know who you are. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Oh my God.
So,
Do
so
y'all
it's
hear this?
like,
Do y'all hear this? This is what I'm talking about. This is why we have the Alienation movement, y'all. We cannot be out here singing
yeah,
and dancing if we don't know who we are. It won't work. We'll still be miserable. Okay.
absolutely.
I'm
And so,
you got
like,
me hyped.
no, no, it's good. Like, and so that was an important thing for me was like, because my prayer used to always be, and then it's like, for me, it's like you use God differently.
Mm,
Like, right? Because my prayers were like, God, I need you to help me get my career. It was like,
right.
it was like through the lens of just like what I felt my purpose was.
Right.
But I think what God was saying to me is like, hey, I hear that. You know how that people say, all right, you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans.
Right.
But there was, I think, an element to it of God saying, like, no, but if you ask for me, then I'm gonna do something different than what you see. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Mm,
And that's to get back to your question, what happened with me is that my habits began to change. Like where naturally I would isolate when I would hit a tough time. Like my tendency was to be like, all right, let me isolate, let me figure this out, and then I'll come back to community. And I
yeah.
think the challenge for me of what actually happened when my encounter with God was like, no, you have to grow with community as you're hurting, as you're going through whatever it is, you still embrace people. Like
Yeah.
you don't isolate, you have to run to community
Mm-hmm.
because like you take the weakest guy in the world and you put him around people who are strong, he will eventually become strong
Yeah.
because it's like there are ideals and values and worldviews that this community has adapted that this person will eventually shape into. And so that was an important thing. It was hard because you know, 27 years you've been doing what you want to do or like, you know, exercising things or being, having a specific way that you do stuff that's being challenged now. It's like, yeah, you are prideful. You should take a look at that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
Right.
there is some unforgiveness there with your parents. You should take a look at that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, there is a tendency to, for you to want to tell half truths to someone who you may like love, you know what I mean? Because there's still a bit of the game in you.
Yeah.
Like let me get in there and break all of that stuff up so you know what it's like to live authentically, you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. Because
And
I think that's so powerful what you're saying, because what I realize is, the word selfishness and self-centered are deemed to be negative, but I've learned that as you grow, you have to be more self-centered in order to be God-centered.
Wow.
Meaning that we have to that self-centeredness means that when I you look up the term, I'm paraphrasing, but it's you you are able to basically grow and move without outward influences. It doesn't
Mm.
bother. Like what's going so if somebody likes pickles and you don't like pickles and they offering you a pickle, you will be like, nah, I'm not gonna eat the pickle. I don't like it. It's not it's
Right.
not a it's not who I am. But you enjoy that
Yeah.
pickle. You have
Right.
fun with it, but you're not outside of being influenced in the fact of like, um, or if I don't have this pickle, then this person isn't gonna like me. And so I'm saying that to say like all the things that you're talking about is a is is a self-centered lifestyle
Mm.
in a positive way.
Yeah.
Like dealing with the unforgiveness, dealing with you know the exposure of self, the pride, and stuff like that. And so when I asked the question earlier, who you were and who you are now, you've evolved because I didn't use the word prideful, but that's what it was. It's like you were like really, or whatever. And now it's more of a balance.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
believe in yourself and you're on this journey of learning of getting to know yourself, your true self more, while at the same time being very ambitious. And I dig it. I like it a
Yeah.
lot.
And
So
there's beauty in that. I think because it's like you realize that your gifts are not for you. You know what I
mm,
mean? That was the distinction as well as when I was younger. The pride came from hip hop culture, just like nigga, ain't nobody better than me. I'm harder. Did you hear my record? You know what I'm saying? It's like you beating your chest, and then you come into contact with faith, and God sort of humbles you in a way that says, like, you didn't do anything to earn those gifts. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? They're not for you. Like it's for you to use to share with other people. So now it's like when a performance comes up or whatever, like I just did New York Songwriter Circle, and it was crazy. The first time I've ever heard a room filled with like 100+ people singing the lyrics to one of my records. You know
oh
what I
wow.
mean? And there was tons of praise and stuff from people like after I was done, and it was sweet. It was dope. But for the first time, like it didn't go to my head. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I wasn't like, yeah, I'm that nigga. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's like, yeah, like get out of the way, man, so that God can shine through and do his work,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you so you're going through this evolution, this journey, and then you have a little boy,
Yeah.
when you're being a dad, you're growing, you're doing all these things, and then you decide, then you move to New York.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what
That's
what got
tough.
you to that? Yeah, like how do you make that decision to still like you're a parent, and how do you
Yeah.
because I, like I feel like I'm older than you.
Hmm.
And I feel like in my generation, I was taught that you drop everything for your kid. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So, like, and if you're not in the same space as your child, if you make a decision to do anything outside of that kid, then you're just a deadbeat, man or
Hmm.
woman, right? So, how did you make that like go? I feel like the spirit in which you went is not like I'm just ignoring my child. It's more, it's like, hey, I'm doing this for my kid, like,
Right.
or for myself. Like, so
Yeah. Yeah.
how did you make that decision to do that and pursue your dream?
Well, when I was back home, I was doing well. Like I had somewhere to lay my head. I had a good amount of money in savings. Like I go where I want, kind of do my thing. But the irony is that like I used to wake up in tears a lot of times just because it
Mm,
was like, God, I know I'm okay. I'm doing okay, but something's missing, man.
yeah.
Like, and I think anyone who is authentically artists, meaning not tied to fame or result or anything like that.
Right.
Recognizes that there's a need to do this the way that we need to breathe, and it's not a superficial thing. It's sort of innate. It's sort of a part of our biology, and so I would wake up with that, that discomfort. Like,
Yeah.
I'm here with my kiddo. I'm doing all the right things that my community would look at and go, oh, he's doing the right thing, but inherently I know that there's something wrong, man. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, all right, I gotta jump off the porch. Like, I gotta do it. And so I went and I auditioned for MFA programs, for Masters in Fine Arts for acting at like Yale, NYU, and Columbia, those spaces. And I got like just some great feedback. I got waitlisted at Columbia actually. The opportunity didn't show up, but still it was letting me know that, like, hey, you're still
Right.
competitive in this space. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, I can stay home and do the right thing, but what's it like for my son to witness me at 20%? You know what
Yeah.
I mean? He sees me every day,
Wow.
but
Wait,
he
wait,
only
wait,
sees me.
wait. I'm doing the open mic thing. Rewind. Oh, wait.
Yeah,
You just gave
yeah,
us some fire. You just gave some fire. What is it like for my son to see me at 20%?
yeah.
Okay, okay.
Like,
I'm
dad, you need a charge. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
so, or like, all right, I would be away from him, but he sees me at my greatest capacity, and he sees the risk that I took, and he knows that the risk is associated to him. It's
yeah.
about legacy. It's not just about me being selfish. It's like, all right,
Powerful.
dad's got to go and build something for you. I've got to go hunt. You know what I'm saying? I got to give it everything that I got. And if I fail doing that, fine. And
Yeah,
if it's not the thing, it will be the thing that leads to the thing. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like, but I have to do it. I have to go. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
um so that I can create a better life for you in the end,
yeah.
so that, because, right, like, kids get older, they don't stay cute forever, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like, at 14, 15, he's gonna be like, all right, dad, I need a car. Like, at 18, dad, I want to go to Columbia. You know what I'm saying? All right, can you help me? And I would just hate to be in a position where it's like, oh, I can't do that for you, son, because I didn't live truthfully, or I'm gonna do it for you, but I'm bitter because I know that I'm not being all that I could be in the world, right? Because it's not just about money. It's about that bridge between artistry and money, of like
Yeah,
monetizing the creativity,
yeah,
which is a completely difficult thing to do,
yeah,
but it can be done.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and so I think what's super great about what you're saying is because even I myself, like, I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina because I wasn't waking up crying, but I was just miserable. I was
Right.
I was just just pissed off all the time. Just miserable in the sense of like, and why push that off on somebody else when you can, so then I started just going, you know what? I'm going to travel and get outside of Jacksonville and put my music out there and see what sticks. I did not plan to move. I didn't plan to leave. It just, I came to Charlotte, fell in love, and it was like the decision was made, right? So,
Mhm. Yeah.
so I think what's beautiful about what you're saying is we've been taught so much to conform and
Mm.
to not be our authentic selves. It's like get a job, get a paycheck,
Yeah.
pay your bills,
Yeah.
buy a house,
Right.
get
You
married.
gotta have a house.
You got to have that house.
You
And
gotta have a house,
I feel
bro.
like that's a big thing in the black community because as
Yeah.
soon as I turned 40, my family was like, why are you still renting apartments? Like, why are you still doing this? And I was just like, because I don't feel like I don't even know if I want to live in Jacksonville.
Right.
And
Right.
I was like, and I don't want to buy a house here, and I saw other girlfriends who did that, buy houses and they were miserable because
Yeah.
they could not do like the free forming life that they had. They couldn't do that anymore because they had to pay their mortgages and get the lawn cut and all these different things. And I was just like, I ain't about that life. I just right now I'm not looking to stick around. I don't know where I'm going, but
Yeah.
so in that place, I think what you're saying is so powerful and it's getting me so hyped because it truly is a journey of being your authentic self and being
Mhm.
honest with yourself, and the traditions and things that we've been taught, what makes us great, what makes us successful, is not
Yeah.
always true. It's not a true premise,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
everyone. So now you're here, now you're in NYC, you're in
Yeah.
New York.
Yeah.
And what is it like what have you been doing?
It's loud, you know. No, but New York is incredible. It's amazing. And I say that because I think diversity is something that's always meant a lot to me. Um, you know, I'm always be black, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna always love my people, but I think it's
Right.
important to be exposed to other cultures,
Hmm.
and particularly like through the lens of exchange of information, you
Yeah.
know. I think we're all sort of different tribes, and some of us happen to be stronger at some things than others. You know what I mean? Black people athleticism, not saying that we're exclusively that, but
Right.
that seems to be, we thrive. Like we're built a certain way, you know what I mean? Other races and what they happen to thrive in and stuff like that. So like I I like the ability to jump on a train and I see people who are from different points of view, who are from different places in the world they grew up, who have, different stories. And you meet cool people. Wes and I met a guy, I don't know, a month ago or something, like on a train, like what did he just travel like he he's like a filmmaker and he had just traveled through the jungle or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And
Wow.
was on like it was on the train like with us. You know what I'm saying? Like it's from London, yeah. Like
Wow.
and so just cool stories like that of people that you run into. So it's been amazing. Is it easy to live here? Probably not. You know what I'm saying? In terms of like what we're used to, that you have a car and you go to Walmart and you throw everything in the car and you drive back
Right.
home. Here, you better make a list of what you about to get. You can only get what your hands can grab. I love it. I love my friends here. I think I'm living the healthiest life that I've ever lived. Like because my community, you know what I'm saying, my church, but apart from that, like artistic community, like I just meet so many cool people. I'm doing work that I think is important. Like I teach after school drama in the Bronx to kids, which is really sweet.
Yeah.
And there's the most obvious thing is that it's like Broadway is right here. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you're in ninth grade, you're looking up to the 12th graders
Yeah.
to sort of get an idea of what's this like, or what do I have to look forward to in my growth. And
Right.
for a while, I think when I was at home, it was like I'm not inspired. I don't see things that inspire me to be better. You know what I mean? And I'm back in a space, an artistic community where I'm inspired. When I go to Broadway, like, and I see a good play because everything isn't amazing. But like I
Right.
saw American Buffalo with Lawrence Fishburne and Sam Rockwell,
Oh,
and these are
wow.
seasoned veterans. You know what I'm saying? And to
Yeah.
see them get it in on that stage and to see that caliber of work, it's just inspiration. Like, yeah, man, that's what it looks like. That's what excellence looks like. And when you can become that inspired, you go, all right, I got to get to work, or
Yeah.
like that's the goal. You have something to sort of model. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. So what okay, so what are you working on right now? Are you just in the acting space,
Yeah.
the music space? Like, where are you at right now with your creativity?
All right, I'm gonna be completely transparent with this. I've always felt like I was sort of at war with songwriting and with acting because I love them both sort of equally. Well, I'm not gonna say equally. I think I've always had like a stronger push on the acting side.
Right.
But music has always been like very important to me. Like, um, particularly because it doesn't require anyone else. I'm able to just authentically write whatever it is that I'm trying to communicate.
Right.
Um, so right now, from an acting position, the goal is to find reps, like agents. So I've been focused on like getting new headshots, getting a reel together, and getting in those rooms to find reps, because they can get you into rooms oftentimes that you can't get into by just submitting yourself. Um, and from a music standpoint, like I've submitted to a few songwriting showcases, so I've done that, and from time to time, I still write songs, right? Because you can't just turn that off, right? You're a musician, like sometimes the lyrics just hit you, or melody just
Yeah.
hits you, and you hear a beat and you go, "Oh no, I gotta this, my pen, I gotta challenge myself in this regard." But I do think that when it's all said and done,
Hmm.
like my heart is self-producing. Like
Hmm.
I think my skill sets are in the space of self-producing. I think that I'm gonna have to create something completely from scratch. You know what I mean? Like a web series. And then put the music is the music that I write in it, or that you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
It's like bridging those worlds between the both the things that I love.
Yeah.
So
So what I hear is you're looking to you're in a space of creating your own space,
right.
creating something that fits you specifically, where
Yeah.
people can experience Wayne Bennett and
Right.
100%. Yeah, it makes
Because
total
even
sense.
auditioning, I mean, you're asking for someone to give you a job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that that's not a valuable path, because it is. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like you do want to work with professionals and people who have those opportunities, but there's also the other side of it of like, we're not auditioning for nobody to give us no job. We're not waiting on nobody to put us on. Like, what if we can become, I mean, it's what happened with Loretta's Boy. Like, nobody gave me a record contract. Nobody said, you know what I'm saying, Wayne,
Right.
I had to figure out how to do this from scratch. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
And I think there was a lot more meaning in that for me, because I knew that I grown it up from a baby to whatever it had become. You know what I'm saying? I like that ownership conversation. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Of like, you don't get to tell me when to work. We've garnered our own base, and we've built our own ideas. So we decide what we want to put out, when we want to put it out, and how we want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for being a part of this show.
Of
I appreciate you
course.
so much.
Yeah.
Um, Tell us how people can connect with you, how they can follow you, get your albums, all of that.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I want to say that too, like for even considering me or having me on. IG me at it's still at Mr. Brentwood Slim. I'm there. And if you want to check out some albums, some previous works, Loretta's Boy, Swishers and Camaros, Brentwood Slim, .bandcamp.com. It's still on that site. And I mean, I was listening to these records a couple weeks ago, and I haven't listened to them in a while. Like, but I was listening just like, bruh, this is actually kind of good. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? You know,
Yeah. I'm
because
so
like certain works age well. Certain works don't age. Like if it's not good, it doesn't age well.
Yeah. So we can pull up at Mr. Brent Slim on Instagram
On
and
Instagram, yeah,
go to
yeah.
bandcamp.com, Brentwood Slim, and pull up Loretta's Boy.
Albums, The Reddish
Yeah.
Boys,
And Swishers
Camaros.
and Camaros. Okay. And then also we'll be able to keep up with your acting and the different projects that you're doing on Instagram as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mr. Bennett, for being on the A.L.I.E.Nation show. I truly, truly appreciate it. You guys subscribe and share, and I will see you next week.
Hey.